Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adaptive's latest webinar. This one is about boosting paywall. So we're going to be providing some advice and feedback on paywalls that have been submitted to us. We have a few experts on the line here to help us with that. We've got Hannah Parvaz and Max Kretich. If we could start perhaps with some introductions. So Hannah, would you go ahead and take it away and give us a little bit of information about yourself?
Absolutely. So, hello, Ben. Hey, Max, and hello to everybody that's joining us live and with the recording. I'm Hannah Parvaz. I've been in mobile for about 12 years now, which is a really long time. I was in-house at four different companies running growth, so looking after different elements of product, distribution, marketing, paid ads, and one of those areas was onboarding and paywalls and monetization. So I have been doing coaching consulting for about 7 years now. I work on an accelerator program as well, teaching companies how to experiment, how to talk to customers, how to understand exactly what people want. And 2 years ago, I launched my company, Aperture, where we work with companies doing this exact thing. So helping them optimize their monetization strategy, helping them with acquisition, and just becoming kind of more profitable, scalable businesses. Over to you, Max.
Fan Fantastic. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone again. So my name is Max. I'm head of customer growth at Adapti, and we at Adapti really cares about our clients. And we know that not only paywalls are responsible for revenue, but also user acquisition. Yeah, how do you market your app, and what do you sell exactly? How your onboarding looks like, and how to optimize the product itself. So our team is responsible for all part of the funnel. I'm working with mobile apps since 2018. Yep, not like Hannah, yeah, but per year we test about 300 different hypotheses, and in per month we test more than 200 different creatives. So we don't know everything, but we know a lot, and definitely know the best trends and how to skyrocket our clients. And in average, about 80% of our clients see double the revenue just in 3 6 months when they're working with our professionals.
Awesome. And I'm Ben Golke. I'm a developer advocate for Adapti. I've got about 15 years of experience in mobile development and about 20 years in tech. Specifically as an iOS developer, I've built apps big and small, worked at a bunch of different kinds of companies. I've taught iOS development, so I've kind of run the gamut of all the things you can more or less do with iOS apps. So we are here to help and provide feedback and guidance on some tips and tricks to hopefully get these paywalls to be even better than they are today. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into the first one. So this is Vocha speaking practice. You can see the App Store listing and the paywall. So Hannah, why don't we start with you on this one? Feel free to tackle any part of this that you'd like, but maybe you could start with just some advice and guidance on how to what you see as good and what you see as perhaps things that need some improvement.
Of course. I think there are a lot of things that are really, really nice about this. Because we've got the App Store listing here, I can't ignore that though, if we're just talking about the paywalls. So first things first, one of the most important things that you can do to improve your conversion is prime people really, really well, which means putting an image in their mind, explaining exactly what your product is, and making sure that that continues into the onboarding flow onto that paywall. So looking here first at this App Store listing, whenever I was looking at this earlier, I was kind of confused about what the product actually is. You know, it says speaking practice, speak confidently with AI. So I do get an understanding that somehow I'm going to be speaking, somehow there's some practicing, and somehow there's some AI. Just from that title and subtitle, there's nothing really there about languages. And so when I read that, I was thinking originally, oh, this is about public speaking or something like this, or how I can just be more confident with my conversations. And then we get down to the first screenshot and it's speak any language confidently. So I like the directive. I like speak any language confidently. That's nice. You know, we want to have this kind of actionable verb based copy as our headlines, but the word language is only here on this screenshot once. And so it still isn't, I guess it isn't a language learning app, but when I come over here to the paywall, again, you just have to remember that there's nothing about languages on here either. And so this is one of the things I mean. We want to make sure that we're priming people properly, making sure it's really clear that this, if it is a language learning app, that we're reflecting that later. I think another thing whenever we come over to the paywall, but also just keep in the back of our mind here, the App Store screenshots, a lot of what we're talking about here are features, not benefits. And so here we're saying unlimited practice, real-time AI feedback, track your progress, premium tutors. But how is this actually benefiting me? Right? A lot of the time you'll find that people are not buying for features, they're buying for benefits. And so whenever you use your benefit kind of driven messaging and copy and talking in this way, you're going to see better conversion. I like that you're using the 3 price points. I'll let Max is going to be a bit have a bit more to say on pricing, I think. But I like that you're using 3 price points, Vocha, because we never want to just have one. Whenever we've tested over and over and over again, having one versus multiple, even if it's 2, even if it's 4, we always see better conversion by having multiple prices, and that's because we get to anchor what that price is in something else. And so you have here the annual 90% off versus weekly. I want to go back to the copy above. We're repeating the word unlimited quite a lot. And one thing I want to also draw your attention to is this headline, this title of the page, which is just get unlimited access. And for me, if this paywall is a part of an onboarding flow, I would be going through this onboarding flow unsure what I'm even accessing, unless I've had a really good kind of few screenshots of onboarding before it. But get unlimited access to what, unlimited practice of what, it's not really conveying to me what this product is, how it's benefiting me. And so I think whilst the design is nice, I'm really interested to see the use of the AI people, because of course we mention on this paywall once AI as well. I'm interested to see the use of the AI in the people, but I think that it needs to be much clearer here. What are the benefits? Much clearer title, much clearer that this is about language learning. This is about navigating the world. This is about how I can connect with people. So yeah, these are some of my thoughts.
Very good. Yeah. I won't speak for the creators of Vocha, but I'll just speak for myself as a developer that I think it's probably very, very common for developers when we're building things, especially if maybe we're building them as an indie or as a very small team, we build features, right? That's what developers do is we create features, we create functionality inside of an application. And if I were to guess, I would say that perhaps what might have happened here is that if the developer was the one responsible for building the paywall, that's how we think. And so we kind of tend to put them in an order of, well, these are the features that I built, and this is what value I believe I'm bringing to the table with my involvement and with the app itself. So that's what I think the users are going to want to see, right? And I think a very useful insight that you made, Hannah, is that stuff is important, but it isn't necessarily what's going to sell your application, right? It's not what's going to actually get people to click the buy button and move along. They want to understand how it's going to help them in their day and make their lives better. And I think that's an important distinction between sort of just kind of a list of the raw features versus kind of the value that's brought to the user.
I think that's a really great thing to highlight, to be honest, because that is the case a lot of the time. And I'm working a lot with developers who are the designers, who are the copywriters, who are doing the whole shebang. And this is a learning, people. And when I've spoken to thousands of customers now at this point, and people do not care about what features you have. They care
Right.
about what your product is facilitating them to do. So the
Right.
better you can communicate what in the customer language, talk to your customers and ask them exactly what it's helping them with. But the clearer you can communicate that, the more effective and higher converting your paywall will be.
Right. Very, very
Yeah,
good.
and I would
Go ahead,
also like
Max.
to add that copywriting is important, but for sustainability and the revenue in future, pricing choice at the main paywall is much more important. Why? Usually, we know what is LTV for our product is the best one, and how users are still live with which kind of subscription. So, and when I see on this paywall, I see that altogether we have monthly and weekly, but usually a weekly subscription brings a 50% more revenue in a long term, and weekly usually has lower pricing and conversion to purchase is usually higher for weekly subscription. And altogether here for this particular paywall I would remove monthly subscription and I would leave only weekly with the monthly pricing, so I maybe multiply weekly subscription by 3-4 times, and also the when I have annual and weekly with the same price, annual is more attractive and more customers take the annual one. So From my point of view, I would leave annual and weekly. Next one, usually for speaking practice, free trials could work really well. So it's my next iteration, yeah, to include that trial, but also mechanic how you add the trial is really important. You can just make a weekly subscription with trial or both subscription, annual and weekly. But yeah, you can also add the special toggle button, which allows customers to make a choice, yeah, and even purchase a subscription without trial. And usually 5-10% of customers is okay to make us to take subscription at once. This is why it increases the conversion rate and yep, and still have the same number of trials. So great paywall, yeah, but definitely from our point of view, maybe additional 30-50% of revenue you can bring if you implement everything like this.
That's some great advice, I think. All right. Well, we went just slightly over on the time that we have kind of allotted for each of these. So, but great feedback. Hopefully that was helpful to the developer. And we hope that your app is very successful, especially if as you work on it. All right. So on to the next one. This one is called WordBox English.
I like it. Yeah.
And and
Very
the difference
design. Yeah.
and the difference here is we've got the listing, and then we've got a little video that I can replay of the paywall instead of kind of a static screenshot. So this time, let me go ahead and replay the video, and then Max, if you want to go first this time, I can maybe even I can pause it just on the paywall so we can take a look at it.
Cool.
Yeah, what do you see there, and what could be improved?
Um, Usually we tested a lot long reads and yeah, long paywalls. It works, not always profitable for us. Sometimes when we A/B test, we definitely can't understand why it's happening. Yeah, but from my personal opinion, today customers not ready to read a lots of yeah, information on your paywall, and you have to activate your customers. Much more earlier before the paywall, for example, in your ad creative, yeah, in your onboarding. Then you have to, in screenshots of App Store, you have to explain why customer needs this app and what premium features we have inside the app. And paywall is the place where customer have to choose the subscription price and maybe check the features what included, and that's all. So in some cases, yeah, maybe in just 5-10% of cases, long read paywalls are working really well. So, but I have one really interesting case when it works, when uh, just check app Flatty. Maybe we will add to the link after. I will send in the chat. It's I like the UX there. They offer just annual subscription at once, and to find cheaper subscription, you have to scroll right and or
Mhm.
scroll left. And not everyone knows is this practice, and this helps to support the high level of conversion rate to trial. And we tested it, and this mechanic, yeah, works really well with combination of long scroll paywall. You don't have lots of noise and one subscription in front of you, so it worked really well. So maybe I will add it to the chat name of the app.
Great. Yeah, I think in that case, if scrolling sort of horizontally rather than vertically, right, you get the opportunity to present the most important information. But then if people want to learn more and they know that they can scroll, then they can find out more information that way, and they have more options. Um, Hannah, from your perspective, this paywall is very different from the one that we looked at a minute ago.
Mhm.
So what things do you see here that maybe would work well for this, and what do you think could use some improvement?
Of course. So, first things first, I do not like making people think whenever it comes to my paywall. I want people to have to use so
Wow.
little brain
Yeah.
power that and make everything really, really clear and obvious. And one of the things I notice on this paywall is we have this massive minus 70% at the top, and then it's followed up by annual. I've found that actually a lot of people don't even know what the word annual means, which is hilarious because probably everyone on here does because you have to select it when you're in the App Store.
Right.
But you don't find that everyone
Right.
knows that. A lot of people, especially in America, are. I think the stat is that the average reading age of people in America is like seventh grade. And so
Mm.
we really need to simplify our language. I'm not saying annual is a complicated word here. And I don't want you to focus on me saying annual is a complicated word here. What the issue is we have annual and then we don't have annual anywhere else on this screen. So we're not saying annual price later on. And so we have to do a bit of mental figuring out like, and actually I was even looking like which one is the annual plan, and it's the year plan. And so one very quick thing you might be able to do here is just change to yearly membership. Simple. Number two is you have to click on the button at the top to play. And so I want to reduce the number of clicks on my paywall. So if you think about the Amazon payment flow on their page, they just remove everything. So here, fine, if we have a GIF and it's something that's auto playing, which by the way is completely possible to have a GIF. You tell me, Ben, maybe that isn't possible, but it should be possible to have
No, it is.
something
It is,
automatically playing. But here, you know, we're having to click play, which is one click less towards the actions that we actually want. So these are from this screenshot here, the main things. We can scroll down a little bit more, maybe if you want to play for a couple more seconds. Oh, one other thing on this top screen actually is I would never put a free trial on both annual and monthly. So this is something that is pushing people, you know, our free trial here is something that we want to use to make people take out this option. And here it seems like, I can't tell completely because it's grayed out, but I assume that on the monthly, you're also getting a 7-day free trial. And so we want to use the free trial to anchor people into this annual plan and get them to opt into that. And so I would remove the free trial from the monthly as well. We've seen that this is going to drive a lot more people towards annual. It will make the monthly appear to be a trial in their eyes as well. So even if you're capturing a little bit of revenue for that month, you know, great. They're probably all going to cancel at the end of it anyway, because that's how people perceive monthly plans for unknown products. And then they're going to migrate over to the annual one later. So that, and then continue a bit more. I think one thing is, Max, as he said, you know, a long paywall can be good. 5 to 10% of cases. That's really interesting. But it is hard to get right because we're giving people a lot of distractions here. So we've got a lot of things for people to look at. I think if this was a contextual paywall and not an onboarding paywall, this could be really strong, by the way. So if you're clicking on something specific that's locked content and then going into this, and this is displaying in those image cards something specific to the content that you're clicking on, it can be very effective. But as an onboarding paywall, sometimes simpler is better. Sometimes, often, always using less brain power is better. And, you know, I think some of these cards here are interactive, or at least I guess so, from what I can see on them. So we want to just funnel people towards that button as quickly as possible. And even if they're not interactive image cards, they're still distracting.
Right. And I did want to ask maybe either of you a quick question about the actual the plan options that we see here. I've noticed that there is a sort of little caption with each one, right? There's the try 7 days for free on the yearly and monthly because they have free trials, and then the lifetime is listed as the best value because you're saving the most money there. My guess though is that with the star and with the text, it makes it so that people are more likely to perhaps ignore those captions because each one has one. It's not like you've highlighted a single one with an exceptional thing saying this is something to pay attention to, right? You've given a caption to each of them, so that might make you more likely to just sort of visually skip that part. Is that something that you both have found?
It's true. And one thing I would also note is that I would rather put that save 70% on that annual plan as a little badge or a little button or something like this for people to really highlight into that. And I'd put something actionable. I mean, if the whole premise of the product is learning English, like I would say some stat at the top, like WordBox English users, 58% more likely to become fluent in English or something. I don't know, but then have that 70% on that button. And yeah, there's a lot going on here. You know, it's really hard to know where to look. The pricing itself is really small. There's nothing to actually kind of capture your attention on one specific thing. But what else do you think, Max?
Yeah, and also agree that pricing could be a bit different here. Just difference between monthly and annual subscription, just 3x. Usually we have difference about from 4 to 6 1. So I will definitely increase the price of annual one, especially if you have a trial included. So just don't be just increase pricing as much as possible and see how it's revenue is increasing. This usually works well.
Awesome. All right. It looks like it's a great app, and it just with maybe some small tweaks, you could increase your. We're looking to increase not just conversions, but LTV and all those things, right? That's all kind of wrapped up in the process and design of paywalls. All right, on to our next one. And this one is also a video. So this is ProBrush's tool for Procreate. I'll just pause the video real quick. So this is an iPad app. So it's a little bit different from just from a sizing perspective. And we can see here we've got the it looks like an animated paywall. So Hannah it's simpler, certainly compared to the one that we just saw. There's a lot less going on in the paywall, more straightforward. There are two, if we're picking up on the things that we've already learned from both of you, there's two options here, not just one. So we do have some choices
Yep.
to provide some anchoring. There is a two-thirds off on the annual compared to the monthly, and it's highlighted with a badge. So it looks like in those ways, it's working how it should. But what else do you see, and what could be changed or improved?
One of the things that was mentioned on the first paywall was that is pricing more important than copy? And I would argue no, it's not. So we can fight about this later, Max. But one thing that I have seen, and it has made me have almost physical allergic reaction to the word subscribe, is the use of this word. So people do not like to know that they're subscribing to something. And actually, one very specific experiment that we've run in the past, which will show you how important it is to have copy that works, regardless of whatever the pricing is for one of my previous companies, we would experiment with the word subscribe versus other things. And we saw that the uplift of using the word subscribe, using the word subscribe as our control versus something very simple like, and when I'm talking, simple, it was start your 7-day free trial. We saw a 900% uplift on conversion. Subscribe versus start your 7-day free trial. And just having that word subscribe anywhere to do with your flows, we've seen in 10 out of 10, 100% of cases that this word hurts your conversion. And so I would here on this call to action use words like unlock XYZ. What is it that you're actually getting from this? Are you subscribing? What am I subscribing to? Here I can just see like a couple of features, a few features, over 2,000 pro assets. What does that even mean? See new coming brushes 1 week in advance. Totally fine, but I mean, there's typos on there, like coming isn't spelled correctly. So just whenever you're asking people to part with their money, we don't want to use the word subscribe. We want to make sure that we're using like the correct spellings for things. We want to focus on what are people actually benefiting from, once again. And we don't want to assume that anyone understands the language that we use within our product. I used to work with one company and we had a founder who really wanted us to continuously use brand language inside our onboarding flow, on our ads, on our paywalls, and no one knew what any of these things meant. So this was a summary app, like a book summary app, and we called internally the summaries knowledge hacks. And so we saw again and again and again, if we put book summaries or knowledge hacks, every time book summaries would convert better because no one knows what a knowledge hack is. So just saying pro assets, no one knows what a pro asset is. People honestly might not even know what a brush is. So you really want to explain how is this benefiting people. You want to remove the word subscribe. And now we'll let Max talk about some pricing stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, Anna, in this particular case, I totally agree that copywriting could be much better. So yeah, for this is we have to sell the value 100%, and I agree with Anna. So here with the pricing and what I would improve, yeah, as mentioned before, weekly pricing for utilities works a bit better. So in average, again, LTV is highest here. Then usually for utilities, trial works much better, but definitely it depends a lot on your acquisition. So if you have lots of organic traffic, yeah, trial works the best here. So if you have lots of paid customers and you have high quality audience from United States, definitely you can try non-trial options, but depends. So yeah, I recommend to A/B test as much as possible and make a breakdown by country, geos, search source, and you understand what kind of offer you can implement. And also in some cases here we can see the price is low in this particular paywall, but just you need to check where you're from, what is the paywall for, what country, and in some cases, yeah, when you see $4 per month, it may be just particular for Brazil or some Argentina and other such kind of countries. So here pricing is okay. I would implement weekly subscription, maybe toggle, and definitely it will implement. It will give you as much as possible uplift.
Fantastic. From a developer perspective, just a couple of thoughts from me. So I like the animated sort of carousel of images behind it is interesting and flashy. I would say that I think the opacity of the actual paywall is perhaps a little bit too thin. It makes it difficult to read sometimes, particularly depending on what's scrolling behind it, like the restore purchase, the privacy policy, the terms and conditions buttons are in some cases almost impossible to read. So perhaps you could just slightly increase the opacity of the actual paywall modal itself, just to make it a little bit more legible. And I'm actually wondering from both of you, do you think that the animation behind it is sort of draws the eye and makes you pay more attention, or do you think it's actually perhaps distracting from the task at hand, which is to determine whether or not you want to pay?
Go
Hannah
ahead, Max.
first, or Max
Oh,
first. Go ahead.
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Go
Max.
on then.
Okay, so I agree with you, Ben. So in this particular case, it's sometimes hard to read, yeah, and but yeah, again, maybe this kind of copywriting, maybe it's a grade that we can't read it. So in this case, maybe it
Sure.
can have a positive effect, guys. So
Sure.
sometimes it works like this, but definitely from my point of view, we have a huge tab, and at the center you have small copywriting,
Mm.
and it's small one and it's hard to read by itself. But when you have a huge animation here, it's sometimes really hard to read, and there is no completely value for this copywriting. And we just improve the copywriting value when we remove the this animation, but itself it's app for the artist, and sometimes people like such approaches. So maybe you can
Hmm.
have different variation of it, and beauty and color works really well in these particular apps.
Fantastic.
That
Anything
was
to add, Hannah?
brutal. Um,
Anything to
you're
add, Hannah?
hilarious. I would say it is a bit distracting. I would say it's not a very good use of space as well, considering we're repeating things so much on this
Yeah.
background. I don't know why there needs to be
Oops.
oh gosh.
Didn't
I
mean to
don't know
go
why there
forward.
needs to be so much kind of different stuff on there. Do we need that big of a range of stuff if we're just repeating the same things over and over again? I would say if we're going to highlight anything, make sure that these are things that are identifiable, that they're the most identifiable offerings. And yeah, it was a really great thing to highlight there, Ben, the opacity. It does make it hard to read. But yeah, I think that there's a lot that we can do on the copywriting on this.
By the way, we have amazing question from our chat. Yeah, is the close button with code done okay to use? Yeah, so just check it. The close button, yeah, on the paywall appears just in a few seconds. Can you again repeat it?
Sure.
There is some loading, yeah,
Yeah.
cycle.
A little loading indicator, and
Yeah,
then a close
just
button
one
shows.
this
Yeah.
second. So, yeah, answering your question. So usually it performs really well. So it gives additional 5-10% increase in conversion rate. It's a bit tricky, yeah, and you can increase the conversion rate at the first, yeah, paywall, but you can lose some customers, yeah, at yeah, inside the product. So definitely you have to A/B test and see the full flow of your customers. So, but usually it works positively, and yeah, as I mentioned before, yeah, it gives additional 5-10% increase. But this kind of cooldown is super fast from my point of view. The longer timer, the better effect. So usually we use from 5 to 10 seconds, yeah, cooldown.
I'd also just add, I think that's a really great insight. And I would also add, make sure that for okay, for some products, they're not very confident in the product offering. And so the less confident you are in your product offering, the more you need to hoodwink people into converting. And so a lot of these things are these little tricks and kind of dark UX patterns are kind of these things to increase conversion a little bit because we don't think that the lifetime value of that user is going to be very high. And so we also, just to add, it is really important that we also build good products that engage and retain our customers, not just try and kind of force a bit of extra money out of them. It is true that a lot of apps now, especially in some different in some verticals, maybe we'll have some of them later, but are having these hard paywalls. And I think having a hard paywall is kind of sometimes better than hoodwinking people into something. This is fine kind of because you don't have a trial, But if you did have a trial and you had this slow load, then you would see a really high uplift in trial, but you'd see a really high cancellation rate as well. So.
Yeah, so when you make any A/B tests, always check not the conversion to trial, not the trial to purchase. Yeah, check the final revenue per one install. It is great, yeah, and also predicted revenue per one install. It will be great, yeah, metric, yeah, to measure any A/B tests.
Great.
All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is called voice typing speech to text. And again, we can see that it is we have iPad screenshots here, but then we have what looks like a phone-sized paywall. So perhaps it's the case that it's available for both. But it says it's an AI transcriber. So this time, again, if we're kind of learning from the previous steps that we've gone through with the previous paywalls and previous apps, we can see here get pro access again, perhaps as a call to action. That's more of perhaps a developer feature focused call to action or a title rather than what am I going to get? What is pro access, right? It does seem to then describe what that is, so that's good. But again, these are features and not necessarily the value that we're bringing to the user. We do have the enable free trial option switch that Max talked about a little bit ago. So it's kind of cool that we're seeing some of the advice that was given, we're then seeing in these other paywalls. So you can either turn that on or turn that off. We do have then two options, a yearly and a monthly. And there does appear to be, it is the case that we're not using things like annual plus yearly. It is a consistent bit of copy there for describing what you get sort of per different type of subscription. So Hannah, how does this compare to what we've seen already, and what do you think could be improved?
I think from a design perspective in particular, this one is kind of the cleanest one that we've seen so far. I think there are a lot of really nice parts of this. You already pointed out that Max previously mentioned this enable free trial, the hot toggle. And I think that's really nice to include. Actually, the first times I saw that in products, I was like, how delightful. Like I get to choose if I want a free trial. Of course I do. And it's really nice. I think the things, again, that can get improved here are simply just the copy. I think you can get pretty far with a paywall like this. There are different things that can improve conversion, but I think there are a lot of really nice things about this. Get pro access. Again, I don't really know what that means when I'm in my onboarding flow. Like I prefer not to kind of say get pro this, get unlimited that, like whenever I'm in my onboarding flow, because a lot of the time, as I've mentioned, people don't necessarily know exactly what that means. And then with some of these bits underneath, unlimited transcribes, or should it be unlimited transcriptions? Real question, I'm not sure. Is that a brand piece of language? Is this about making notes quicker? I think so, but actually, we don't have the word notes anywhere on this paywall. So what is this actually helping people to do? And I like things like without ads, that's nice. I don't know if anyone was even thinking that there were ads ever. So you kind of sometimes putting things into their minds. And I don't know if continue goes anywhere, but I would expect that something that was a bit more actionable as a call to action piece of copy might also kind of drive up conversion here too. Whereas continue is kind of more passive. And whenever we've tested with this, we've seen that it has a lower conversion than lots and lots of other options that we've tested. Some of the other bullet points, choose app color. I don't know if in your onboarding flow, that's what people care about. Here, what I would really do is, and I don't know how many people are using this product, is I would do something very revolutionary and talk to the customers and ask them what they use this pro version of the product for. And then I would put those top 4 things on this paywall. I don't know if people are downloading this app and paying for it to choose an app color, but maybe they're all going to say that. I don't know though. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, totally agree, Anna. Also, before this meeting, I had a chance to download the app and checked for my phone how it looks like. And to be honest, some bottlenecks are just hidden here really. So when I open the paywall, actually screen optimization wasn't done well here, and I didn't see any pricing. So it was hidden under the continue button, and to see the pricing, I had to scroll down a lot. And probably it's a conversion killer because not everyone understands, yes, that something is hidden. So under I have iPhone 15 Pro, if you really care about it, case. So definitely I would make it a bit smaller. Yeah, I would leave only three main bullet points here: what is app about and what features you provide and what value you provide. Definitely next one. Trial is available only for annual subscription, but as mentioned before, yeah, not everyone yeah ready to active the if pricing is too high, the cancellation rate will be higher, and it means that conversion rate to the final subscription will be lower. So what we recommend to test here, I would definitely test trial only for monthly or weekly subscription, because it decreases revenue at day one, probably day seven. Yeah, doesn't matter. It matters what kind of trial you have, but in long term you will have more subscriptions, and with a high LTV you will just make more money in 3 6 months. And I saw such cases lots of times when we decrease pricing for a few months, but this subscription snowball is growing and growing, and before and after, yeah, we just see just 30% boost in half year. So it really matters, yeah, and makes the calculation. So we shared in a LinkedIn just LTV prediction document, or you can use adaptive prediction files and just check what subscription generates the highest LTV and try to focus on it, because yep, the lower pricing, the higher conversion rate. And it means the more subscription you have, even if LTV is a bit lower than annual one, in the long term you will win. So this is what I think.
Awesome. And just for purposes of making sure that we're not sending out jargon that people don't understand. LTV is long-term or lifetime value, right? So it's the total value of that customer over the entire life of their relationship with you and your product. So that might be 1 month, it might be 3 months, it might be a year, it might be multiple years, depending on what kind of subscriptions you have and how long they are gaining value from your app. And so when you think about customers, right? I'm speaking mostly to devs here who might be on the call. When you think about customers, you might be focused on the price that you're providing in the subscription options themselves, as that's what I'm going to get from this person. And that is true to a degree, but it is also important as a business to think about, if they subscribe for a month, then that's great. You get that month revenue, but they may very well churn out and they're no longer a customer, or they may stick around for a very long time and you gain that value every month. So it's important to think about not just sort of the pricing on the paywall and thinking about it that way as a business, but also, what you're going to get from that person, what value you're going to get from them monetarily, and what value they're going to get from you from the app. Something I wanted to mention from something that Hannah said, I think this is something that isn't really carefully thought of necessarily a lot of the times, but I liked the correlation you made both here and on previous paywalls between the App Store listing and the paywall itself, as far as the consistency. So, like you said, there isn't anything on the paywall that describes things about what the app is doing regarding, like, let's say, dictating notes. It's in the title of the application on the App Store, but it's not in the paywall. And there's other things in here that again are incongruent, right? They're not lining up between the two things. And I think certainly it's an insight that I hadn't thought of before as a developer and person who uses App Store Connect and puts apps on the App Store and has to think about the different ways that we're presenting the information to customers. But it's really important to be consistent between really with all of your marketing copy, right? The part of your marketing copy is the App Store screen, part of it is the paywall, and they need to be consistent between each other so that the journey that your user takes from the App Store all the way into your app to converting to a paid customer is consistent, and is clear. They may not see everything on every screen, so you want to kind of reinforce those things that are most important along the way.
This is something that we could do really well until 2021. By the way, until 2021, we could have a nice ad and then we could deep link it to a really nice onboarding flow. And actually since September, we've been able to do this again. So if you are finding that there are specific messages which are working really well in your ads, for example, you can now put that onto a custom product page, which you can have about specific elements of your ad. That's been around for 2 years, 2.5 years. But the new thing in September is that you can now deep link your custom product page to a specific flow inside your app. And so putting something in this example about an ad around notes, and then your custom product page around notes, and then directing it to a paywall about notes will drive up your conversion. There isn't we're never going to get to 100% adoption of
Sure.
iOS 18, which it needs, but it's getting higher and higher every day. So this is becoming a feature that is going to have more and more of an effect as you're running it. So yeah,
Great.
Consolidate that messaging, and it will improve your efficacy.
Right.
That's really amazing. And also custom product page allows you to track properly source of acquisition. Sometimes it's really hard to see where is your traffic coming from, but a custom product page is a great tool just to understand what kind of campaign and what countries and what even source, so TikTok, Meta, or organic one. So it helps just to split your traffic and see as a really clear picture.
Asterisks for click-through attribution only. So just make sure, for some of our companies, we're having 80% view through, and that won't be tracked on a custom product page. So it will help you. And we usually try and triangulate some source of truth by using our MMP, our custom product page or custom store listing, and then our whatever is the ad platform we're using. But the custom product page will only allow you to see for click-through attribution.
Fantastic. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We've got safe in cloud passwords and two-factor authentication. So again, we've got the App Store listing with 3 of the screenshots, and then it looks like this looks to be a scrolled paywall that we're showing in a series of screenshots. So I believe this is all one screen. It's just 3 different versions of the scroll window. So here we've got an interesting thing that we haven't seen yet. This appears to be a custom paywall in the sense that it's showing off a Cyber Week limited time offer. So it's probably not going to show that all the time, right? That's something that's a kind of a specific point in time and perhaps a specific set of options for subscription. We also have a thing that we haven't seen yet, which is individual pricing versus family pricing. And then we also have a free trial explanation screen that it's spanned over 2 screenshots, but it's explaining kind of what happens when you start the free trial and what it will do as the free trial progresses, which is something that I've seen probably in the last maybe year or 2 as becoming more popular. So we do have a longer paywall here, right? It's about 3 screens worth of information. And it looks like instead of like a video or a GIF or something, it's a little carousel of images of pages that can scroll horizontally at the top there. All right, so Hannah, we see some things here that we've seen already. We see some new things. So what do you see here that works well and what could be improved?
Okay, we'll let you go first next time, Max. Don't worry. Okay, so firstly, I actually do like a carousel on a paywall. I tend to see that they perform well because it's almost like a little game that people play. They like it. They like swiping through, but also they can't click on anything and they don't leave the paywall. They don't leave anything. So it's nice. It's nice to give a bit of interaction there, especially when it's revealing new features. I don't know what all of the features are by looking at this one screenshot. This isn't even the first carousel card that's visible. So I assume it's loading on the first carousel card whenever I'm looking at these. But just to focus on what we can see here. Underneath, we have got the famous Blinkist paywall element there, which is the today, day 12, day 14, which tends to convert really well. Actually, we've tested quite a lot this timeline paywall, and it does work really well. But it is kind of hidden there, which means that I'm getting people, like the way in which this is designed is to get people to scroll down. So rather than click on that button, really it is like people are going to scroll more than they're going to click on that because they're going to see what happens after day 12. So I would experiment a little bit about putting that above as well. Like actually, I know I've been kind of going on about benefits, but actually sometimes these timeline paywalls can perform even better than the best benefit-driven paywall, as long as they've got nice design. When it comes to the pricing, again, we've got this monthly, annual, lifetime I feel like maybe a developer might have written this because it's got that squiggly sign, which only developers use, and now I use because of because of spending so much time with developers. But I can guarantee you, normal people aren't using that. And then again, we have got this minus 60% off. I would put this on as a card or something like this instead of just writing it there as text, to make it feel a bit more special. But then also we do have best value. So we are creating a bit of distraction here. Do we go with the 60% off or do we go with the best value? It feels like they're kind of almost contradictory because a lot of people can't do maths. I think whenever it comes to this first part of the paywall, I assume, carousel card one is going to be about passwords. It's going to be about 2FA. It's going to be about saving in the cloud. But again, whenever we come to this, we're not reflecting anything that we're seeing in the App Store, potentially nothing that we're seeing in our ads as well. We're not talking about until later on, like this is across all devices and things like this. But yeah, I think even sync across all devices, that's a benefit. If we talk about interconnectivity, cross-device functionality, these are actually benefits that people are looking for, even though they're features. Some features can be benefits. That does sound a bit confusing. But it's true. Whenever it comes to these frequently asked questions, it's not clear whether you can tap on these or not because of how they're written. So I would potentially put, if we want people to interact with that, just a little like triangle collapsible symbol there for people to be able to interact with those. Otherwise, it just feels like we're just telling people what are the frequently asked questions and not giving them any of those answers as well. So yeah, a few things that we can improve. I like the use of social proofing. I think that's really nice. We should definitely be doing that. We should definitely be shouting out this 4.8 that we're doing. I don't know which geo this is in, but if it is in a dollar sign country, then it would normally be a point sign rather than a comma for the 4.8 as well. So just want to highlight some of these tiny like idiosyncrasies between the countries as well to make sure that it feels kind of organic and natural for the reader too.
Max, so on the pricing, feel free, of course, to add any kind of advice you want, but I have two questions for you about the pricing specifically. So there's individual and family, and I had a question for you about like, do you find that separate kind of pricing is valuable to people and they see specific value in perhaps subscribing their whole family to something versus subscribing individually? And then secondly, to Hannah's point about annual versus lifetime and showing like the percent off versus best value and how it might be confusing. To me, the actual visualization of 60% off with a negative sign in front of it seems weird to me. I don't know that I would put the negative sign there because to me, it kind of implies that something is bad. I'm getting a worse deal rather than a better deal. So what have you seen about when you put in percentage off and like how that is displayed and conveyed to the user?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for the question. First of all, kudos to developer because I understand how much time it took to develop such kind of paywall. We have best practice implemented here. How trial works, yeah, family plans, yeah, frequently
Hmm.
asked questions, and yeah, but this carousel it takes a lot of time. And I understand, yeah, that because of which sometimes it's really hard to make any A/B tests, yeah, and completely change the paywall. And usually we are just have to continue develop this paywall because we already spend lots of time on it, and sometimes just sometimes you have to just close eyes on everything what implemented here and start from scratch sometimes. So maybe I would make a bit simpler. So I understand that everyone who needs such kind of app really cares about features and what included. So it's a technical app software. So we need the details. It's okay. What I recommend here, make as simple as possible. Yep. First of all, move how trial works here above or maybe before the paywall. It's a great practice here because it provides understanding here how you can provide more information about trial works and the person will spend more time on this particular case. And then regarding the pricing, yeah, Ben, regarding the family plan, I really like it. Yeah, how Apple released it, so you don't need anything yet to do. Just even checkbox is already implemented, and we tried to sell something like this, and about 5% of customers really need such kind of feature, and maybe it's a great when you have professional app and your family works, but it's not a great deal so here. So I would definitely just avoid at the beginning. Yeah, just as additional test I would definitely test it because it's not a big volume at all. So regarding the pricing, yeah, for 100% agree. When I see the $24 here for annual price and 79, yeah, $80 here for lifetime, I will definitely will never take the lifetime, yes, because yeah, why have to pay just 4 times more for almost the same access? And probably yeah, I like the option, yes, that I have annual one, but definitely I will go with the annual one. So now maybe I would, if I would like to increase the average order value, I would first of all I would increase price for annual subscription. Before the call, I checked the average pricing for this particular app, and I noticed that usually yeah, pricing starts from $39 per year. So definitely all the time check your competitors' pricing because it could be a great signal that maybe you need to upgrade your pricing. I understand this probably app was already implemented many years ago, and we already all the time just think about inflation that all pricing have to be increased. Just revise your pricing every year, and it's totally fine, yeah, just to increase the price, and definitely think about just your main audience here. Maybe it's just Europe, much customers, more customers in Europe use such kind of app. Maybe just think about your main audience here and try to optimize here, maybe for tier one, tier two countries, and it works really well. And Yep, agree with yep. Annual one, 14 days trial, we tested it. Usually 7-day trials, yeah, 7-day trial works a bit better. So I don't know why, but we tested 3 days, 7 day, and 14, and the 7 day was a bit better, about 10% difference. So it's really huge, but so maybe just think about shorter period of free trial, and also yeah, you can implement. Maybe it's too much for this kind of paywall, but think about free trial toggle, yeah, because it will give you opportunity to purchase subscription at once. But yeah, altogether, yeah, summary for this paywall, yeah, well done. And anyways, try to think to simpler manners. Yeah, try to A/B test and try something fresh for your particular app, and maybe simplicity will give you yeah, more value because yeah, population younger and younger, and mobile users are younger and younger, and sometimes you need to simplify the product.
So when you said
One thing
10%, oh, sorry, go ahead, Hannah.
I was just going to say, one thing I would also add to the pricing is that the pricing itself doesn't actually make sense to me. Whenever I look at the lifetime and it says it's $100 crossed out, that indicates to me that it's 20 months is the lifetime based on the maths. But then actually, if we compare the 13 cents per month versus the monthly price, that would be 38 months. And so I'm not sure how that maths is worked out either, but having incorrect maths on a paywall, if anyone is trying to calculate anything, it's going to make them very confused and make them less likely to convert as well.
That's a great insight. So when you said, Max, on the 10%, what you meant was a 7-day free trial converts to paid 10% better than like a 14 or a 3 days. That's what you meant?
That's true. I can't explain why sometimes, but yeah, it forced to test. It forced to test because for some utilities, yes, three
Right.
days works better. So definitely, there is no one rule, yeah, for all the apps, unfortunately. So, but for some educational apps, yeah, we tested 7 days to work much better because everyone looks at Duolingo and some kind of apps, yeah, which provide even 30 days, and it's definitely
Right.
interesting. But we have a great product. Let's do 30 days, and you wait
Right.
1 month, and you do drop the revenue, and I don't know. It's not my, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we have time for one more. So we're going to do this one. This one is Tracker Kit Habit Tracker. This is actually, it looks like to be an Android Google Play listing. So our first Android app on this live stream anyway. So again, if we look at the paywall, we can see kind of a mixture of different things we've seen already. So Max, on the pricing, it looks like we've got monthly, annual, and lifetime. We do have a kind of a call out only on the annual for 34% off. Um, so in that sense, it looks well structured. So what do you like, and what would you like to change about the pricing or anything else on the paywall?
Go ahead, Max.
So, yep, yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So
Sorry.
according to my practice, just maybe the way how everything design is a bit different, yeah, from standards. First of all, we start from the features, yeah, and what included, and then we are talking about price. And so I would definitely change the user focus to the for the content itself. And also, yeah, I would make it shorter a bit, so just 3, 4 main bullet points, yeah, without just 2, 3 lines of content. It's just from my point of view too much. And what I really think, usually Android traffic is about, and Android revenue is about 10-15% of the whole mobile market. I mean, in terms of revenue, and definitely rules a bit different from Android, from Apple. So definitely we can try to definitely Android customers needs more information. So what we mentioned before about the features, what included, it works really well. And what difference, yeah, per day for each pricing. Android customers takes much more time on paywall, and they how to say need more details, yeah, for each price. And so in this kind of particular paywall, definitely I would include as much as possible. Yeah, maybe long scroll can work really well here, but definitely they have to be a tested. Regarding the pricing, not too bad. Usually for heavy trackers, trials works really well, especially for annual subscription. I'm not sure that lifetime it takes more than 5% of more than 5% customers takes lifetime. So maybe lifetime is not a great deal here. Maybe I focus only on annual subscription because conversion rate will be a bit high, because lifetime, yeah, it lots of space, yeah, here from my point of view, and just maybe even less than 1% customers takes such a high pricing subscription. So yep, good price, good cost efficient, yeah, phrasing not bad from my point of view, but usually you can make it shorter with some small labels. And also breakdown by the days or monthly price also works positively. So just show customers the exact value by not a whole periods, and just make a breakdown by the just days or months. And also what I would like to add that and Google Play is not so limited by the rules like Apple, and sometimes you can use some dark patterns and be a bit more tricky comparison for the Apple Store. So maybe in some particular cases, yeah, you can write the whole pricing at the below the paywall that you need to scroll a lot, and also you can show only the monthly pricing, and don't write the whole pricing as the main paywall. So maybe for some small apps it will work a bit better, but the end of the day, yeah, I always vote for the transparency and clearness. So just try to balance, yeah, between the tricks, yeah, and revenue and reputation. I usually vote for reputation, because usually you can earn more money here, but you will lose in long term much more. So and also I like that there is no X button here, so there is a back button, so it means that it's hard paywall. Usually it works really well, but definitely it have to be tested, yeah, with your current traffic.
Awesome. I will just say really quick, there do appear to be a few spelling mistakes on the paywall. So as a
A
general piece
lot.
of advice, just make sure that you're sending that through a spell checker, and you know that it's all as accurate as possible. So Hannah, before you jump in, I did want to ask you about the call to action button at the bottom. Start with premium. That is not continue, right? It is a
Yeah.
fairly
So
straightforward thing. So how does that? How have you seen that working?
I'm glad that you highlighted the spelling mistakes there. I would say just take all this copy and put it straight into your chat GPT or something and ask it about it, because there's inconsistencies with your casing as well. So, on your App Store listing, it's for the most part it's sentence case. And then in those kind of features, it's
Mm,
pretty much all title case, or
right,
sorry, camel case, but except some words randomly like that, with, feel,
right.
things like this. And then you're at the very top. So stick to one casing type. Look at those typos. Upgrade at the top, efficient, useful, things like this are going to get people to move away from this, because they're not going to trust your product. And then when it comes down to that call to action button at the bottom, again, just I know I've been kind of saying this a few times, but whenever it comes to that call to action button at the bottom, we want to make sure that we're tying it to what someone is actually getting or achieving with it. So unlock better habit tracking. What are they actually going to get from this? I would really focus on how are people benefiting from this product throughout the paywall. But then one thing I have to mention as well before we get into this is this 34% off is 34% and then minus sign off. We need to remove that minus sign and uncapitalize that O, or capitalize the whole thing, because that's really confusing to me to read 34% minus off. But when it comes to this call to action, start with premium. I would say just experiment with a few different things, really simple tests. You can just run some call to action tests on there. Put in a trial if you think you're going to try out something like that. Start habit tracking. Something like that might be really nice and effective because it's tying into what someone is actually looking to achieve. Start time tracking. Start doing whatever it is that I'm actually going to achieve with using this product, rather than just premium, which I don't necessarily know what that means. Whenever I come to this paywall, all I'm going to read is the title, start your projects and habits with premium, and then I'm going to skim read the pricing, and then I'm going to look at the call to action. And so you want to make sure that you're conveying those. If you're putting big bold text or highlighting things in boxes, that these are conveying all of the information that you want to be consumed by the user, especially when it's at the top of the screen, as Max said.
Right. A good lesson that the word premium is useful, but only if the person understands what premium means in this context, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all want to have a premium experience. We all want to provide premium features and premium functionality to our users, but we want to sort of show rather than tell, right? So explain why something is premium, not just say that it is.
Exactly.
All right. We are at time, so unfortunately we have a few more paywalls left, but we're not going to be able to get to them in this webinar. We do plan to cover them in a separate form, so look out for that. Thank you all for everyone that submitted a paywall for critique. We really appreciate it. It takes a lot of effort and bravery to send in your paywall and have it critiqued. We really hope that the advice that we provided you here today is useful and valuable, and that you can take that and enhance and improve your paywalls moving forward. I really want to thank Hannah and Max for joining us. You provided a ton of really valuable information and insight. I know I learned, even as someone who's been doing iOS apps for a very long time, I learned a ton about how to do this better. So thank you both.
Thanks for having us. And yeah, as Ben says, it does take a lot of guts to send these in, and everything that we've all said is out of love, not out of saying that these aren't good, but we just want you to do really well and have products that convert and to build products that people really, really love. And by focusing your attention on optimizing the paywall, you're going to be able to get more people in to experience that value. So you're going to do it.
Yeah, and I would like to add that paywalls usually it's a 50-70% of success. So take care about your paywalls, as a solutions.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, Hannah and Max. Thank you all to all the viewers and the submitters, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.